Alright, hi guys, this video is going to be titled Mastering Post-Plant Situations. I know you guys are probably wondering, man, where's your webcam? On all the other videos, your webcam was up. The only response I would have to that is that I've been getting so much feedback on how ugly my face was that, I just crumbled, man. The pressure was too much. I couldn't handle it anymore. That and the fact that there's a terrible synchronization between my voice and my mouth opening when I'm talking. That there's a delay, and I mean, I feel like it has to be annoying. So that's why I took it off. Um, the reason there's a delay is because my webcam isn't great. I don't think it has. I think it's 60 FPS or whatever. Okay, so post-plant situations. I'm gonna hop in a couple of different maps. I think maybe not. Who knows, man? We'll see. We'll see where the wind takes us. So first off, I'm gonna be talking on about when to play passive. When you want to play passive, once you've planted the bomb. Now, in my mind, there are 5 different situations where passive play is going to be rewarded. It's going to be good. It's actually going to be good to play passive. It's not always good to play passive during post plant positions. Don't get into your mind that it's because every single time you watch Days stream or Steel stream and they keep fucking yelling at Tarek peeking in post plant situations in FPL whatever, that it's bad. It's bad in some cases, and I'm pretty sure it's bad when Tarek does it. But when or when Stewie does it, but in some situation, playing aggressive is actually the thing you want to be doing. If you do not play aggressive, then it's gonna bite you in the ass. And when I'm gonna be going over every single situation here, I want you to keep in mind that the fact that I'm running this situation over 100 times, and I'm gonna be giving you what's best for about 90% of the time. Now, so 90 out of the 100 times you're gonna run into this situation, what I say is gonna work, right? And sometimes passive play is gonna work 30% out of the time in some situations, and that's when I'll be saying go aggressive, take that risk, even though it's not 100% sure that your aggressive play is going to reward. It's going to be rewarding. It's still more likely for you. It's more likely for you to win the round if you do play aggressive than if you play passive. Because if you play passive, in some situations, then you're going to get mollied off. Then you're going to get this, and that. So, This is how I'll break down the video. So the first part is about when to play passive during retakes. Against retakes, basically. My bad. You want to play passive against retakes when you're up numbers. So you're outnumbering the CTs. You're 5v4, you're 4v3s, you're 3v2s. In those situations, you want to play passive. The reason why is because, first of all, you can afford basically trading negatively even when they retake. Since you got one more guy with you. It's one more guy who's gonna be able to trade. That means that even if someone whiffs within your 5 guys, you're still okay. And the other thing is you've got numbers. Usually when the CTs are down numbers, they're not attacking from multiple positions. Because they don't have say you're in a 4v3 on B-side banana, they're not gonna do 1-1-1. They're gonna do 2-1 because they want to trade. Because if they do 1-1-1, then everybody's fighting 1v1s. That's not what they want to. That's not where they want to put themselves, right? So, and since they're not attacking from multiple angles, when I say multiple, it's 3 different angles at the same time. It's a lot more. It's a lot easier for you guys to hold your initial crossfires, and they're gonna work out. Whereas sometimes when you play passive, and you're even numbered, and the CTs have more utility than you, then that's when the power shifts out of your hands and it goes into their hands, and now the retake is actually more likely to work for them than for you to. It's gonna be more successful in those situations when they have more utility. So the first sign you want to recognize when you want to play passive is, are you up numbers? The second sign would be, do you have control of something outside of the site, of another part of the map that's outside of the site? If you usually in a post plant situation, you always want to have someone dedicated to watching flank, and that guy also has to be able to come trade with you guys in the later stages of the retake against the CTs. Like, so once he knows nobody's flanking, he's got to be close enough to trade with all of you guys and not over peak. So you always want to have someone dedicated to your flank, and then if you have two people pushed up construction, or on B side 2 people on cat, that's when you know that since those 2 players on cat are playing passive, the 2 construction players are playing passive, that means that the 1 guy inside or the 2 guys inside here are going to play passive. On a map like cash, B side on cash, if you've got someone in checkered, someone in sunroom, and then someone else inside, and it's a 3v3, in those situations, it's good, even though you're not out. Fuck me, dude. I don't know why I'm burping. Even though you're not outnumbering the CTs, you sit like the control that you have on the other positions that the CTs can retake from is so good that it warrants you to play passive, right? If you have sunroom control and checkers control, you don't need to play aggressive. You don't need to over peek side. You do not need to peek CT from checker. You don't need to do all these things. You don't need to flash peek anything. Adjacent. Yeah. Now the third sign would be if you have an AWPer. If you're even numbered and you have an AWPer, then the AWPer is kind of the key to your post plant position, to winning your post plant situation, because he can lock down one of these angles, right? So you gotta notice how when I said if you have construction control you can play passive, your AWPer can basically get you construction control by just holding it. He's gonna be holding garden, and you're like, all right. And as long as he doesn't see someone, then you're all good. From like whoever's playing site and whoever's playing emo is fine. If you got someone pooled, you're fine. Like, you don't need to push CT. If someone's I don't know, say you got 2 people in pool, or 1 pool and 1 banana, you guys don't have to overplay your positions, because this one you got an AWPer posted here. Same thing if your AWPer is posted on CT. Yeah, whenever you have an AWPer who's controlling one of the parts where one of the positions where the CTs can retake, that's when you want to play passive, while you're still even numbered. If you're down numbered, if you're down a guy, even if an AWPer is locking down a position, you still want to play aggressive, because you're like, by then you're relying too heavily on your AWPer. You really want him to get a kill and then transition that into another kill. And that's never, you never want to put any player in that situation. So the fourth sign would be if you have a lot of utility left. If you've taken a site, and on a map like Inferno, that's something that's gonna happen most of the time when you take B, because you don't use 3 smokes to take mid. You don't use 2 smokes to take mid control on A. You use only 1 smoke at most to take mid control, and then probably another smoke to fake, and that's it. That's all you use when you go mid on Inferno. So you still have 2 or 3 smokes. 3 smokes, 3 or 4 smokes up on your other players, and at the same time you can always take in count the numbers of the nades of the people you've killed once you've gone inside. So if you've got a lot of utility, meaning you've got 2 smokes, usually that's the minimum I would suggest. If you can always, even if you have only 1 smoke, it'd still probably be good to play passive. But if you have utility, so you can re-smoke a choke point or re-smoke 2 choke points, then play passive. Just hold behind the smokes. You're good. You don't need much. You don't need anything else. If you got smokes and flashes, then you can delay the CTs for such a long time that it's gonna be good enough for you guys to trade the kills once they get in, right? So whenever the CTs are pressed by time to retake a site, that's when they're gonna be more prone to make mistakes, and that's when you're gonna capitalize on these mistakes and just hold your crossfires and all hit your shots. Because in my opinion, if CTs don't make mistakes in a 3v3 on B, they should be able to retake the site. Because there are no crossfires that you can hold. This, say you're holding this. This is not a pro-efficient crossfire in my mind. It's not. Why? Because this guy and the guy coming up here, if they both win their 1v1s right here, or if they trade efficiently, it's basically who hits their shots. And although you're the ones holding, they know exactly where you are. So it's kind of a tough thing to call, right? So yeah, that's it. So unless you're playing on a map where you can hold perfect, and I say perfect crossfires, what I mean by perfect crossfires is, so a basic crossfire is when two people are holding the same angle, or when someone is holding an angle and then the second guy can peek into that angle and trade properly. That'd be a crossfire. You're basically making an X with a certain spot. A perfect crossfire is when you can both hold the same angle and at the same time not be exposed from any other angles. So you only have to worry about that one angle, and that's gonna happen in certain situations. If you have, like, if you know that they're all coming from the same angle, if you know they're all coming CT, and this guy's speaking. Oh fuck! God damn it! No. Inferno wouldn't be a great map to show this actually, but. Oh, I'm not even using these. Who gives a shit? So, if you're both, if you're holding the same angles, right? So, that crossfire right here. Let me see. It would have to be here. It's here. If you're holding a crossfire like that, and the only reason you're holding that is because you have total guarding control, and you know that nobody's flanking, or I'm just trying to think about crossfires here on the A side. Oh. No, that's not it. I can't think of another one. A perfect crossfire on this map. I mean, there are plenty of crossfires, right? This guy having the run to the side, so that when they run, this guy's gonna peek that angle exactly. You can play it from here if you want. You can play it from here as well. In at B there are multiple decent crossfires, right? Or second oranges, spools, new box, spools, first oranges, behind fountain, behind fountain and spools, behind fountain, new box. All of these are crossfires, but they're not perfect crossfires. I'll just show one of them, like a common crossfire that people are gonna use is someone's gonna be holding this angle right here, the cross, right, and then this guy's gonna be holding right here, right. So as soon as this guy spots people jumping over, this guy's gonna see them as well and get the kills. As soon as this guy sees people crossing over on the ramp, this guy's gonna be able to peek out and trade. So the problem with like that crossfire is that like you see how he's holding this angle right here. Like a good way of playing that crossfire, actually technically this would be a great crossfire, and it would almost be a perfect crossfire if someone hugging this side of oranges, and someone's playing like this. You're both holding about the same. I mean, this guy would actually be holding an angle more like this. You're both holding exactly the same areas. You both can trade if people push you, and you, like, yeah, that would be a good crossfire. But then again, if people come here and jump up, they can just spam, so they can see your gun. So there goes that crossfire. So I don't know why I just fucking talked about crossfires for 30 minutes. So back to the passive the passive post-plant position. So I went over. I talked about when you have a lot of utility, when you have when you're up numbers, when you have what's it called? Superior positioning, so pushed up construction, deep flank, when you have an opper. Alright, the last thing I want to mention is when you have a lurker. If you, like, on maps where, I'll just name a couple of sites on certain maps that favor the CTs if it's down to a 3v3 and the CTs have more utility. It favors the CTs, it favors a retake more than the defense of the bomb. So a site like, in my opinion, Inferno is the one of them. If you don't have construction control as a terrorist and the cities have it in a 3v3, cities should be winning it. So AL Mirage is a more known one for a retake. It's easily retakeable by CTs. Another map would be B on train, B on overpass. No, that's too spirit decided. Cash, A on cash. Yeah, those bomb sites, in an even number situation, in my opinion, if you don't have the other requirements that I just mentioned as terrorists, favor those situations are gonna favor the CTs, and those bomb sites, right? A site on this map, if it's in a 3v3, even if the CTs have more utility than you, even if you don't have an opper, even if you don't have superior positioning, like aggressive positioning, even if you don't have that in a 3v3, it favors the terrorists because your defensive positioning is really good. It's really hard to smoke you out. It's really hard to molly you out of spots effectively. So yeah. If you have all those requirements, passive setups is what you should be holding. You should be holding these passive setups. Now, when I like taking risks, you always need to weight the risk reward, right? So, say you're executing, it's 5v5, you're executing on B on Inferno. You've taken mid control, so you know that the arch player is nowhere in city spawn. Like at best he's in library, but he's probably in moto. You know, so you know it's gonna take him quite a while to rotate. In those situations, when you're executing on B, if you get both kills, you need to push construction. It's a requisite to push construction, unless it's 5v3. If it's 5v3, I guess you can also fucking play passive. But even in 5v3, I would still recommend to push construction because the risk of the risk of you facing opposition and construction with all the knowledge you've gathered in the round is so fucking low. It's so low that you would want to send 2 people to clear it because the reward of you getting it. So I would say, alright, if I would put statistics on this, and obviously we don't have these types of statistics because CSGO stats suck, but from what I've seen, and I've been playing this game for 5,000 hours, and I've watched a shit ton of fucking games. From what I've seen and from what I've experienced myself, I can say that there's gonna be an approximation, obviously. So I can say that when you get 2 kills, and you push construction right away, 90% of the time, you're not going to get any opposition in construction. If you have the other things that I mentioned, if you had mid control before you went banana, right? Now, the 10% is when the CTs are gonna early rotate, way before they know they did, because basically when you're running a default Inferno and you're taking mid control, you're denying information, and for them to early rotate, it's a bet. They're taking a bet, and that 10% is when teams are willing to take bets, and they're gonna take that bet. Like I'm weighing the odds of them betting on the B side, and at the same time of them willing to take a bet, because in a 5v5, you usually don't want to. If you have two players at B as CTs, you don't want to bet on having an early rotate. So yeah, 90% of the time you're not going to see any opposition, and even if you do, so even if it's in that 10%, and I'd probably be willing to say 80% of the time you're going to see you're not going to see any opposition. I could lower that statistics. That statistic. It doesn't matter to me. 80% or even 70%, as long as that play is more than 60% likely to happen. More like as long as any of the aggressive plays have a higher than 70% chance of working out, I'm gonna make that play. That to me is a good risk. Unless it's 5v3, we all have nades, and I mean, if it's 5v3, I'm not gonna do that. But if it's 3v3, if you've traded the kills and now you're down to 3v3, plant the bomb and have two people rush the construction every single fucking time. So, and also it depends on how fast you've killed them. If they delayed you long enough, like they tossed the molly, and it slowed down your execution, or they counter flashed you twice, and you didn't move forward because of the counter flashes. If they were able to slow you down for like 4 or 5 seconds, then pushing construction is more of a risk, and I would probably not do it unless I need to. I would need to, but you know. So yeah, pushing construction. Those situations when now I'm talking about when to go aggressive. That's a situation when you want to go aggressive. When you've killed both both side players, you want to take more than just the site. On certain sites, right? I'm not talking about like a site, for example. A site, even if you kill everybody, you don't want to push Arch. It's useless. It's useless because nobody can trade with you, right? Whereas when you go into construction, the construction is such a great position to be holding as CTs or as Ts. Whoever has this part of the map, remember when I said when you want to make aggressive plays, you want them to be low risk, high reward. This is low risk, extremely high reward. When you have construction control as terrorist and you've planted the bomb, you're gonna win that situation 99.9% of the time. You should never lose a fucking 3v3 if you have construction control. Never. Ever. Unless, like, the only reason you'd lose that is if some people would whiff. So people would just start whiffing. So I'm technically the 99.999 isn't valid. It'd probably be more like 90% of the time, because 10% of the time people are gonna be whiffing, or they're gonna flank early or like stuff like that. But yeah, that's when you want to go aggressive. Another time you want to go aggressive in the post plan is when you don't have the flank, because you couldn't dedicate someone because you didn't have enough numbers to do it. So if you can't dedicate someone to watching the flank, you need to push the other spot, right? The opposite spot. So right, the opposite spot of banana and B side to me would be construction. You would need at least garden. Depending on if you have smokes or not. If you have smokes, you can just smoke guard. You don't actually have to go in construction. Another thing, right? If like on a map like Mirage, if you've taken B site on Mirage, and nobody can get to Van because it's not safe anymore, and nobody is in B halls because you were down numbers and everybody had to get down inside to clear and trade properly. So in those situations, when you don't have someone that watching the flank dedicatedly, you want to put most of your players in a safe positions in a safe position from the flank. You never want someone to be exposed from two different angles. If you're inside, if you got like actually not. I'm just gonna repeat myself if I keep saying that, so I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, that was the point I was trying to make. When else do you want to go aggressive? When your health bars are low. With low health bars on multiple, that means if you're playing a 3v3 and two of your players are like below 20 health, holding angle is not gonna work. Or even if you're in a 3v2, holding angles usually not gonna work out. So flash peeking would be good. Whenever you want to make any aggressive play, right? This wouldn't be a great angle, a great spot to do it. But whenever you want to make aggressive plays with flashes, then you need to make sure that someone else is supporting you when you make that play. You don't want to go in by yourself. You don't want to be Stewie 2K, being 17 years old and not caring about anything and flash pushing a smoke. You don't want to do that. Like the only reasons you would want to flash push a smoke by yourself is if you're really stuck in an awkward position and you gotta get out. But at the same time, the reason you're stuck in that position is because you misplayed, you mispositioned yourself. Or because like someone died. Like if say you're in pool and you're playing pool because you got a teammate banana, and like pool is a great position if you have a teammate banana to play. It's because you can hold a crossfire with the banana player. As long as CT spawn is smoked out, then your new box player is going to be holding behind the smoke. That's good, so you don't have to actually worry about spawn. You can always just watch the runway here. So that's why it's a pretty strong position. In my opinion, much stronger than anything else than new box and emo. Like first oranges, second oranges, all these angles suck compared to pool. If you're playing in those types of angles where you're out in the open and then the flanker dies, that's when you need to go aggressive, right? So my third point would be whenever the flanker dies. So you notice how I went from when you don't have control of banana. If you don't have control of the flank, then you go aggressive. When the flanker dies, you go aggressive. It should switch and switch. No, what? Yeah, it should switch a light on in your head, and you should know that, alright, my flanker died, I need to do something elsewhere, or actually I need to contest the flank aggressively, because otherwise we'll all just get crushed by 3 different angles. Something you never want to put yourselves in as terrorist when you're playing the post line position is you never want to play passive if the CTs have control of anything else but sight, right? So if the CTs have control of your flank, so banana, they have control of banana, they have control of CT spawn, and they have control of construction. If they have control of all of these areas, you're gonna lose the post line. Let's fucking be honest, dude. The odds of you winning that post line are so low, because they're coming from 2 different angles, and like it forces you to play super passive. Because there are no crossfires to banana. If you're inside, you can't really peek that angle with multiple people. You can't peek that angle right here. Like technically, the angles you could peek would be this one with this guy, but then you're exposed from CT. You basically when the CTs have control of everything else but sight, that means that you guys need to turtle in sight. And once you've turtled, that's when they can just fucking slow peek you and just trade the kills swiftly. Even if they don't have nades, they're gonna trade the kills swiftly because they know exactly where you are. Those are free kills. So no matter the fucking, and since like I mentioned earlier, you're not holding perfect crossfires. You're holding crossfires that have a lot of downsides. New box and emo crossfires. Crossfire has a downside of that if what's it called? If the CTs. And usually they're gonna be walking at this point because they don't want just to hold the strafe button and give you a free kill if you decide to peek wide. They're gonna come here and then peek you like this, and then oh, you're fucked because since you're not walking, since the CTs aren't coming from here. As a new box player, you can't just peek wide a little bit and get the trade and not get exposed from the different angles, right? That's when they're gonna peek They're gonna single you out properly, right? This is singling this guy out. This guy's not gonna do that. If he does that, he's exposed. That's singling people out. So when you're turtled inside and you're playing super passive, that's when the CTs are gonna win. So that you always want to make sure that it never happens. You want to avoid those situations, and by avoiding, I mean you want to make positive plays, meaning you want to do something proactive. You don't want to be reactive. You don't like it's never. Oh, my flanker died. Well, now instead of watching CT, I'm just stay pool and watch flank, I guess. No. You want to either push CT with a flash, or press banana. Depending if you have a smoke here, then you can always pop a flash and run up here, and see what you can get. Or you can flash CT, push CT, or you can jump on here. Someone flash for you, and you're gonna push spools. That's basically what I was trying to say. So, and if like it's a 3v3, right? And actually, I'll take that back. Whenever it's a 3v3 and you don't have utility, you should play aggressive. So, if it's a 3v3, you got utility, but your flanker died. The guy watching flank died, but you're still holding behind smokes. Then you don't actually have to make a play because you're holding 2 of the 3 choke points. So like the only other choke point where the guy can come from is the one that you want to be able to trade if he does peek you from that angle, and if the CTs don't push the smokes. Okay, I think I've said my piece here about post-line positions, post-line situations. I went over aggressiveness, I went over passiveness. A key position on a popular map, and like you need to know to recognize the bomb sites you're playing in, right? If I were to make a list like earlier I did on sites that favor the CTs when you're even numbered, and you don't have the other requisite that I mentioned to play passive, meaning that it's retakeable, it's favorable for the retake, like B site on Inferno, like A site on Mirage, like B site on Train, B site on Overpass. You could probably toss in A side on Dust too, but that's a little bit it's harder to judge. What other maps are there? A side on Train, on Cache, not Train, Cache. What else? Retakeable. I think that's it. I mean, Nuke is out soon. A side on Nuke is favors the retake. If you're all turtled inside, right? This is the retake is gonna favor the retake if you're all turtled inside. If you're not turtled, if you've taken construction control, if you've taken CAC control on Mirage, if you've taken connector control on Mirage, or if you have a lurker on Mirage that can make a play, then it's fine. It's more up in the air whether you're gonna lose the post mine or not. It's depending on how the situation is. It's usually gonna the wind's gonna be flowing in more in your favor, right? The thing you never want to do is you never want to put too much pressure on your lurker. I'm gonna finish this video with this thought, is that on a map like Mirage, and I'm gonna take Mirage as an example, because A site Mirage is one of the sites where pushing further than the site is actually hard. It's hard, and like notice when I was talking about construction on this map, I'm gonna make a comparison. Whenever I was talking about pushing construction, I mentioned that it's because you killed someone in sight, and that you know that this guy is either isolated or just not there, right? Whereas on Mirage, usually teams are going to play super passive. They're going to give you sight, and they're just going to try to shoot flash smoke and get one quick kill, or jump over smokes, or spam you through smokes, or nade stack you when you're planning, mollying when you're. They're going to do those types of things to delay your plan, and at the same time try to get 1 or 2 kills, or deal a lot of damage to you when you're crossing and trying to, like, on map like on a site like A on Mirage. That's what they want to be doing as CTs. They're gonna play fully a retake on you. They're gonna play retake on your ass, and now it's up to on that map and on exactly that site. that when I, like the thing I just said, don't put too much pressure in your lurker. That means don't always play passive. You can't always play passive and hope to God that your lurker does makes a miracle play every single time. Don't. Some rounds you want to push the boundaries. You want to push connector. Some other rounds this, if it's a 5v5 on Mirage, I'm gonna tell you straight up, 5v5 on Mirage, unless your lurker makes a play, which I mean technically he should be able to, unless your lurker makes a play, you're gonna lose that retake 80% of the time. No matter what pro player tells you, no matter what Daze says, they're gonna play passive retake, blah blah blah. In a 5v5 on Mirage, unless you play your lurker, and by making a play I mean if he only gets one kill, that's enough. It alleviates the pressure, it slows down the retake. Those two things are crucial when you're playing passive, when you're playing a passive setup on the retake, because, well, like I said, the more they're pressured in time, the more they're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna forget to pop flash something before peeking in. They're gonna forget they have an extra smoke. They're gonna miss shots. They're all gonna peek way too wide. They're not gonna be coordinated enough that they're gonna be fucking NA players. Is what's gonna happen when even when European players are pressed by time in retake situations. That's when they make mistakes. That's why the lurker it's really good. Even if he doesn't get a kill, just if he just exerts pressure, doesn't die, but he still has the ability to flank at any time, it's going to delay their retake, or it's going to force them into making a decision. Either we focus on killing this lurker, or we focus on just fully playing super aggressive and going into site really fast, because we don't want to get crunched. So yeah, back to my point. In a 5v5 on Mirage, if you're playing Tetris, a ramp, someone inside site, a guy Palace and a guy in the lurker, you're losing that fucking retake. Like I said, 80% of the time. 80% of the time, one of the B players is gonna have a smoke, someone's gonna have a molly or nades. They're gonna nade stack whoever's inside, or they're gonna find a way to push the guy inside out in a way where his teammate in a ramp can't trade with him. They're gonna be able to smoke Palace off, and they're gonna be able to pop flash Tetris to get the kills Tetris easily, without a fucking worry. It favors retaking A side on Mirage, favors the retake almost every single time. And that's when, and by the way, that's whenever you see a pistol strat on Mirage, people push CT spawn with Glocks, because they know that if they all stay inside, since none of them have smokes, they're all exposed. They all have to peek. If nobody peeks and you all hold these angles to like the crossfires to like when someone's running up inside from CT and then someone and whenever they're running up on Tetris, all these angles are so fucking close range that as soon as one of you guys whiff the first headshots, you're all gonna get overwhelmed. And you can never base a post plant situation. You can never base your setup on people hitting instant headshots. Don't do that. Okay? So, and obviously, because if you do that, right? If Dade says, well, you should be Sui, man, just play passive. You're gonna hit the shot. It favors you. Blah 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 blah. Some angles will favor the guy holding it heavily, and in those angles, he'd be 100% right to say that. He'd be 100% right to say yes. They favor the guy holding so much that if he dies, it's because he whiffed really hard. But at the same time, you don't want them to say, well, I'm playing emo here, right here, and then when the guy peeked me, I couldn't hit the instant headshot, so I had to hide and wait for my teammate to trade, right? Or I had to commit for a spray. Like, I didn't hit. Basically, my point is, you didn't hit an instant headshot, and you don't want to say, well, I lost that post plant because X didn't hit an instant headshot. Well, the player Y missed his spray. Player Z whiffed an op shot. Don't get into those situations of, well, like NA players, like what NA teams do. Well, we lost that round because, I mean, if I had hit that shot, they would have just won. If I didn't miss that smoke, we would have just... Shut the fuck up, dude. Quit giving yourselves excuses and play the setups properly. Know when to go aggressive, when to go passive. Don't always go passive and then blame it on people whiffing shots. No, because every single team could do the same exact thing. Whenever they're playing CT side, they're the ones holding the angles. So sometimes they're not. Sometimes there's a reason you don't see 16 O's and 15 O's or 15 15s technically every single fucking match. It's because on CT side, it's not because you're holding the angle that you're gonna hit an instant headshot every single time. Well, it's a game, dude. It's nobody's perfect, especially in a game where RNG exists. Woo! That little rant felt so fucking good, dude. Woo! Alright, so I hope you found this video insightful. I'm sorry if the video lasted like, what, 30 minutes? It lasted 40 minutes after that rant. God damn, dude. I'm sorry if it's a really long video. Actually, I'm not sorry. I don't give a shit, dude. If you're not willing to watch the entire video, I don't give a shit. You do whatever you want, I guess. I'm not trying to control people, but that to me is what it warranted a long video to fully explain these videos, and I'm gonna have timestamps in the description if you want to skip some stuff. It's gonna help you, navigate your way through this video, and I hope, yeah, like I said, I hope you found this insightful. Yeah. Enjoy your day, guys and girls. Don't wanna single out the fucking sex right there, dude.